Some women don't chase. They move like the tide, pulling away not in anger, but in quiet inevitability. And when they leave no trace, except in the places a man can never scrub clean. His mind, his memory, his shadow. She doesn't speak her departure in words. She speaks it in absence. And absence, to the masculine psyche, is not emptiness. It is a mirror. He first saw her as light, a subtle glow against the gray monotony of his world. At first, he thought it was beauty, but beauty fades in the eyes of the restless. What he saw, without realizing it, was the part of himself he could never quite touch, his anima, as Carl Jung would call it, the hidden feminine within his soul, projected onto her form. She became the living embodiment of his yearning for wholeness. But instead of protecting it, he tried to own it. He tried to own her. In the early days, she gave him her warmth without resistance, not recklessly, but with an openness rare enough to disarm even the most guarded man. Her eyes did not compete. Her voice did not beg. She listened, not to respond, but to understand. And in that space, he felt seen in a way that stripped him bare. This was the first thing that would haunt him forever. Not her beauty, not her charm, but the unbearable memory of being truly understood. Men will never admit it, but to be understood without effort is intoxicating and terrifying. For in her gaze he found no judgment, only reflection. And in that reflection his unhealed parts rose to the surface. She didn't lecture, she didn't fix. She simply existed as a reminder of what he could be, and what he feared he was not. But when a man has not yet confronted his shadow, the darker self he keeps locked away, being understood feels like a threat to the fragile structure of his ego. He pulls back. He distracts himself with noise, with other faces, with fleeting thrills. She notices, not because she's paranoid, but because her energy has grown still. Stillness sees more than movement ever can. And then one day, she stops giving. Not in revenge, not in desperation. She simply closes the door to her own soul. She still smiles, but it no longer reaches the places it once did. Her voice is still soft, but it carries no invitation. She has begun to protect her essence, and though he doesn't say it out loud, he feels the shift like a sudden winter. This is the second thing that will haunt him forever. The moment he felt her love without having to earn it, and the moment he realized it could vanish without a fight. He tells himself he can replace her. The world is wide and full of faces, but none of them carry that quiet gravity. The way she could fill a room without speaking, the way her presence made him stand taller, speak slower, think deeper. Other women might try to impress him, to hold his gaze with noise and demand. But she was different. She did not compete for his attention. She made him compete with himself. The truth, unspoken but undeniable, is that her absence forced him into confrontation with his own shadow. And in that shadow, he saw what he had done and what he had lost. Carl Jung once wrote that, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." For him, fate became the name he gave to the hollow ache she left behind. There are moments late at night, long after he has convinced others that he has moved on, when she returns to him in silence. Not physically, but in the memory of a glance, a scent, a line of her handwriting. She appears in his mind like a candle in a locked room. And the cruelest part? He cannot tell anyone. To admit it would be to admit that she still holds power. The third thing that will haunt him forever is not the woman herself, but the version of himself he could have been in her presence. She didn't just make him feel wanted, she made him feel possible. And once a man has glimpsed his own potential through the eyes of another, he will spend a lifetime chasing echoes of it, never quite finding the original note. She, meanwhile, walks on, not coldly, but with the warmth turned inward, feeding herself instead of the undeserving. Her detachment is not born of bitterness. It is born of awakening. She has learned that a woman's worth is not proven in the amount of her suffering, but in the quality of her silence. And so she does not linger in places where her soul is only half acknowledged. The Stoics would say she has mastered the art of controlling what she can, herself, and letting go of what she cannot, him. Trauma psychology would say she has broken the cycle, refusing to reenact old wounds by staying where she is unseen. Jung would say she has stepped out of the projection and reclaimed her own image from his unconscious. Whatever the name, the result is the same. She is free. Freedom, for her, is not forgetting. It is remembering without pain. It is the ability to see his name, his face, his ghost, and feel nothing but stillness. And in that stillness lies her power. For while he carries the weight of her memory like a chain around his neck, she wears the memory of him like a feather on the wind. He will never tell her. Pride will not allow it. Ego will not permit it. But somewhere in the unlit corridors of his mind, she still walks. She passes through his dreams like a shadowed figure he can never quite reach. He wakes, heart heavy, with a longing he cannot name. For a woman he once knew, and for the man he could have been. She, on the other hand, does not look back. For she understands something he never learned. The woman who walks away in silence isn't weak. She simply sees more.